Hey everybody, welcome back to Tech Odyssey. So I'm here today with a special review. It's a gaming laptop. So finally I was able to get my hands on one. Lenovo sent this out to me a little while ago. I've been testing it out. It's the Lenovo Legion 5 gaming laptop, and it's a 2021 model. So it's been out a little while now. It's not the most brand new, but it does have some really good stuff in it. I do want to put a little asterisk here. This is the maxed out model. This is the i7, the 3060. You can get it with lesser specs, so you can get it with an i5 in there if you want. There are even, I think, Ryzen variants as well. So this one right here, maxed out to the 9. It's got the 11th generation i7 in it, which is top notch. That's perfect for 1080p gaming, which is what this laptop is really designed for, especially since the monitor on here, the screen is maxed out 1080p. So, but anyway, it does have USB-C out for a monitor, and also it has HDMI out built into it already. So if you want to connect this to an external monitor, be my guest. You can play up to 4K. Of course, that's going to diminish because, well, that's not what the specs are designed for. So, 11th gen i7, 16 gigs of RAM, is 3200 series DDR, which is basically the best you're going to get in there. You can probably go ahead and upgrade it a little bit, maybe get some better latency RAM in there, some of that stuff if you really care that much. I'm going to guess you probably don't, because if I'm reading the audience right, you probably went out and bought this because you wanted a one-stop shop laptop that you can sit down, plug it in, and you can play some games and have a really enjoyable experience. That's what you're going to get here. It's got really good hardware. I've enjoyed playing games on it. You're going to get well over 100 frames per second on a lot of stuff, and that's probably what you're looking for, not upgrading the RAM to get a little bit better latency. So anyway, you can do that. There's only 2 RAM slots in there. They're both full. It's got 2 8GB RAM sticks in there. You've got spots for 2 M2 drives. One of them is occupied, of course. Depending on what storage configuration you can get a 512 in there. Mine happens to have a 1TB M2 drive. Works pretty well. It's very fast. It's very responsive. You install stuff. It's great for playing games because it loads things very quickly, and that's what you want. So what else? It's got a 15-inch screen on it. It's got a full layout keyboard on it. So this one even has the 10 key, which is kind of nice. If you like to do business on the side and also like to play games and stuff, there are reasons to have a 10 key. I like it. For my regular job, I'm an attorney. I'm a tax attorney. I do a lot of stuff that involves numbers, so having the 10 key is really important to me. The only thing I don't like about having the 10 key and having this bigger keyboard layout is it kind of condenses and squishes the buttons together a little bit. So I have a hard time hitting the delete and the backspace key. It takes some getting used to. If this is the only laptop you use all the time, you'll probably be fine, but it does take some getting used to. Also notable, you can plug in your own keyboard and mouse if you want to do that. So if you want to buy this gaming rig, because we all know that it's difficult to try and get graphics cards. I mean, why would you want to go spend $1,000 on an RTX 3070 or 1100 or 1200? They want a lot of money for those things. A 3060, I think, is going to run you probably about $800 or $900 alone in today's market prices. So you could go get a nice laptop or a nice pre-built and save yourself a lot of money. I've done that with a lot of my kids' stuff. Having a good gaming laptop that has a lot of power in it, and that's the important thing with this one. It has a lot of power. It has that 3060, it's basically fully powered. It's not one of the ones that's diminished. And if you're not familiar with this concept, a lot of times you can go out and buy these lesser expensive or these budget laptops or even some more expensive ones. They will not have a full powered GPU, the graphics processing unit. So your video card may be underclocked so it gets better battery life and performance. That's not the issue here. This one goes up to 130 watts, which is really good. You're going to get the best gameplay experience possible out of this card. And you're going to combine it with the i7, the 11th generation processor, which is really good. I actually recently bought that for my kids. I've got an 11th generation i7 and a 3060 in my kid's computer. It runs like a dream. So you got a good setup here. It's got plenty of ventilation. You've got the intakes on the bottom, so it sucks the air in here. And then you've got the vents over here on the sides where it helps blow the air out. Now it does get warm. And I do want to talk about that because when it comes to laptops, heat is a big issue. I've been a laptop gamer for a long time. I've had Alienwares, I've had Dells, I've had Asus. I recently tested out this Asus laptop and it got so hot you couldn't even touch the touch bar with your fingers. Like whenever it was under full load and you were running it maxed out, you could not touch it and hold your finger there. It got so hot. This one, there's no hot surfaces that get that hot. It will get warm, but not to the point where you can't play it. I've even got like a 2019 Nitro 5 that I bought. It's an Acer, and it gets so hot when you're playing it sometimes you can feel the heat under the keys. It gets uncomfortable. It feels like you're melting your fingerprints after a while. This one right here, Great for gameplay, great for extended gameplay, and you get a lot of power, especially with it fully unlocked 3060 for your graphics card. The other great thing is ports. You've got tons of ports on here. So you've got an actual LAN port on the back, which is key. If you don't have a Wi-Fi connection, or if you want to eliminate what little latency you might get, plug it in to the Ethernet cable. That's the way to go, right? This one has a Realtek Wi-Fi card in it. I believe it's supposed to have Wi-Fi 6. I don't have Wi-Fi 6 stuff at home, so I can't test out the full potential. But what I can reassure you is that with it running on the Wi-Fi, just Wi-Fi 5, I get good signal. I've been playing Valorant, I've been playing Warzone, I'm getting under 40 millisecond. Sometimes I get 20, 30 millisecond. I think that's pretty good. It, to me, is competitive enough that I can play and enjoy my game. So, you have a good Wi-Fi option. I've read that some people have had some issues with consistency, or at least complained about it with the Realtek Wi-Fi card. I've not had those problems, so I can't speak on that. My experience is that it's been pretty solid. It's been reliable enough for me to do gameplay, and I played on Wi-Fi and on Ethernet. You got a Thunderbolt port on the back here as well. Also works for a display out. You can use that to plug in for an external monitor. Actually, both of the Thunderbolt ports, there's actually one on the left-hand side as well, indicated by the little lightning icon. And then you've got several USB 3.2 A-series USB ports as well. This thing is loaded out. So you've got the Thunderbolt, you've got the 3 USBs on the back, and then you've got an HDMI out, also capable. Plug that into a monitor, and you'll get your 4K video output. You got the dedicated power slot. There's actually a really weird-looking power connector, kind of little rectangle connector. It looks almost like a USB-C. That's what it looks like right there. This is the power brick, so we'll introduce this stage left. This is a hefty little boy. I think it weighs about 2 pounds. 300-watt power supply. So it's crazy. If you've ever been in the world of building computers and you know inside your computer you got a 400, 500-watt power supply unit, this is basically it. A 300-watt external power supply unit. It is heavy, it is hefty, but it has a really long cord on it. And I don't know, a lot of people have really hammered down on this a lot. A lot of times when you get laptop cables, they may not be the longest in the world, especially when you get the power cable. This plugs in with a traditional PC power cable, and then it actually has a really, really long cable, so probably about 7 to 8 feet. You're going to be able to plug it in and play a pretty long distance away from your laptop, which is important. You never know where you're going to go play this thing at, so if you need to go somewhere and need to plug in, the plug's kind of far away, you're good to go there. Also, it has a 4-cell battery in it, which gives you about 2 hours of battery life on normal day-to-day usage. And that wasn't even playing games. So I tested this. I tried using it as a work laptop for a day, and basically it gets you about 1% per minute. So after about 2 hours, it's tapped out. You can probably, that was with the brightness on, reasonable brightness too. It wasn't all the way maxed out. If you turn the brightness down more, maybe, it's on battery mode already. There are battery saving modes, there's battery mode, there's balance mode, there's performance mode, there's different power modes that are on here. If you put it on balanced or try and put it on power mode while you're unplugged, then battery's gonna be gone. But if you do it, have it on normal battery mode, unplug it, you get about 2 hours. And it doesn't get overly hot, I will say that. I was surprised. I thought it would get hotter off the cable with just using everything internal. I thought it would get warmer, and surprisingly it didn't. So it actually works well, works good when it's off the cable, but you just don't get a lot of battery life. That's the way gaming PCs are, especially good ones, because they're really maxed out. You got a lot of power, you got a lot of stuff going on under the hood. It really just sucks up the juice. So you're probably not buying one of these so that you can play it when it's not plugged into something. But I wanted to go ahead and talk about that. Now also on the left-hand side, you've got a headphone jack, which is nice. You can plug in your gaming headphones, and you've got the other Thunderbolt port there. Again, works as a display out as well. And then on the right-hand side, you've got two cool things here. So you got another USB Type A, 3.2, and then you've got a switch here that disables the webcam. So it does have a 720p webcam built into the top of the screen, which actually works okay. You can do some streaming stuff with. It's not the greatest in the world. It's a 720p webcam. I really feel that this is just my own personal bias, probably, that laptops, I feel like with as much money as we're paying for them, they could go the extra mile. They probably understand that if you buy a gaming laptop, you might want to do some streaming stuff. You can always buy another one and put it on here as well, which if you want to pay the extra money, they've got some Razer ones and some other ones that are cool for gaming. But the one that's in here, it's nice. You can disable it with the switch over on the side. So that's cool. Now that we've got the laptop open back up again, it's got a 15-inch screen on it. IPS panel, about 300 nits, which is pretty decent, especially you're going to be using this inside. You're not going to be really using it outside. Anti-glare screen. It's got a good viewing angle, about 180 degrees, which is pretty spot on for an IPS panel. You see it's already started up. It starts up quick, fast, and in a hurry because it's got the i7, it's got the M2 drive in there, so it boots really, really fast. That's another nice thing. Again, the color saturation, the brightness is good, about 1,000. About 1,001 contrast ratio, if I remember correctly, and it's pretty solid. It's going to be an enjoyable experience. One thing I wish it had was a fingerprint sensor. I've been messing around with some other laptops lately, especially the newer ones. A lot of them have fingerprint sensors. It would be nice. I mean, it's not necessarily a necessity, of course, and this is a gaming laptop. It's not for business. It's not for super secure stuff. It's not a $2,000 laptop. I get it. It would just be nice. One thing I like a lot is there's actually a little battery icon down here on the bottom. You can see the green battery there. It tells you what battery life you have left. It's got the different performance modes with the Lenovo stuff on here. I've installed and tested out a lot of games on here. I've played Diablo 2 Resurrected. I've played League of Legends. I've played Overwatch. I've played... What else have I played on here? Cyberpunk 2077. It handles that really well. I've also played Call of Duty, Cold War. I played Warzone. I've played basically all the major titles that are out now, Valorant. And it runs everything well. This is one of those laptops where whenever you play it, you're going to play anything well. It's not like, okay, there's a AAA title, it's a brand new game that just came out, can I play it? Without question, you can play it. And you're going to get at least 60 frames per second on it with everything on high. There's no compromise here. You're going to get a good experience. This is going to be better than playing on an Xbox. And of course, if you want to play like that, you can connect an Xbox controller to it, even wirelessly. So you're covered there. It comes with a month of Xbox Game Pass, which is nice. Definitely download Halo and check that one out. There are a lot of cool things in there, especially with Xbox going to this Game Pass subscription service. I like it. I like you don't have to pay a ton, and you're covered there. So beautiful screen, good keyboard. The keyboard itself, it's nice, it's responsive. Lenovo has always made pretty decent keyboards. I don't like this weird shape of their keyboard. Like the way their keys are shaped, it's kind of got that circle. It looks like a shield almost. Maybe that's what they're going for. But it works well. The key press isn't too terrible. It's nice. It's responsive. You get good feedback. The touchpad is good as well. But of course, you're going to be playing with a mouse. If you're going to be playing, but of course, you're going to be playing with a mouse if you're going to play games on here. There are lots of different gaming mice you can connect to it. I have a Logitech one that I like to use. I've tested it. I've used the Razer Kraken, I think. I've got a Razer mouse I've used as well, the Basilisk Ultimate 2. You can plug in any myriad of ones, and what I like is all the USB connectors. That's something that a lot of laptops don't have. If you're going to be a gamer, you need USB spots. So you need to be able to plug in your headphones, plug in your mouse, plug in your keyboard, plug in... There's a lot of stuff that you need to plug in, and you can do it all here. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the gameplay stuff just so you can get a feel for what that looks like on the gaming end. So here you can see that I've got basically everything maxed out. It's all on high, all the way down. All the settings are turned on. And we've got on the stats here, I've got the FPS on text only. So this is Valorant. We'll go into the game and we'll see what it looks like. All right, so what you can see right here at idle, it's 158 frames per second. Of course, it's going to be hard to play this game well and talk at the same time. So I'm averaging right now, it's pretty much pegged out at 158 frames per second, which is pretty darn fantastic, especially when you consider console gaming. They're trying to get 4K at 60 frames per second. This right here, we're looking at, this is 1080p, fully maxed out, and 158 frames per second. It's not dropping, it's not wavering, it's not going back and forth between 100 and 200. 158 frames per second, I think, is pretty darn solid. I don't think anybody's going to scoff at that any day of the week, right? So, see if we can find somebody. Oh, there we go. So this is Valorant. This game I like to play quite a bit, actually. It's a fun one, and thankfully it runs really, really, really well on this laptop. Now, another thing I want to do is turn up the sound real quick so you can get a good feel for this sound experience. So let's do that. All right, this is with the sound maxed out. Well, that didn't work out. There we go. All right, so here we have Warzone. Go ahead and get back in the fight. I just got out of the gulag. I had recorded a whole clip and then it decided that it didn't want to record. So here we are. You're going to get over 100 frames per second on here. I've been testing it out pretty extensively, and it bounces back and forth when there's a lot of stuff going on. The lowest I saw was 98 frames per second, which I think is pretty reasonable, especially when you look at console gaming and you're looking at trying to get 60 frames per second. So full 1080p here, you can export to the monitor, you can do Quad HD+, you can go up to 4K if the monitor supports it, but of course your graphics are going to suffer with trying to go up that high resolution. It just doesn't have the hardware for it. But for a 1080p gaming laptop, even here you can see we're running around, we're doing stuff. I'll go ahead and fire. Drops down 98, I hit 97 once, back up to 100. So it consistently stays over 100 frames per second. You're not going to have glitches, a bunch of frame drops whenever you get into combat and do stuff. It's a very, very handy laptop, and I like it. It's great for playing games on. I've played a lot of games on this, especially this, and playing Valorant and some other stuff too. So this is a good solid option, and I wanted to show off the gameplay so you can have an idea what you're getting yourself into if you want to get one of these to play video games on. Now that we're playing a more serious game here that requires the GPU a lot more than Valorant. Valorant's not really a GPU intensive game. This one is, and you can definitely tell already just starting the game up. Listen to the fans here. Let me go ahead and move my phone here. You can hear they're definitely in overdrive now. So whenever you play Call of Duty Warzone, some of these games are much more intensive on your graphics card, then you'll hear the fan kicking. The nice thing is the fan sound themselves is not super crazy. I've got an Asus ROG laptop from a couple years ago that's got like a 1660 Super, or TI Max Q, whatever it is, and that one gets crazy loud. I also tested out a different Asus with the 3060 here a couple weeks ago, and I took it back because it gets so hot and the fan is just so crazy loud. So this one right here I think is pretty fair as far as a gaming laptop, especially with 1080p, RTX 3060, i7, all that jazz. I think it's pretty decent as far as the sound goes. One other cool thing about the keyboard is it's fully backlit. It also has color LEDs, so you have different color profiles on there, so the lights kind of adjust and dim on their own, but also you get just the straight up flatline colors. There's different color options in there. There's 3 different options to choose from that you can simply do by pressing the function in the space bar to cycle through them. Nice option in there. It gives that extra gaming element to it with the LED combination. So cool job on the RGB. Also has Bluetooth 5.1 in here, so you can use that to connect things with like controllers and your earbuds, headphones, and all that jazz. You can go wireless with this whenever it comes to doing things like that. And of course, if you have a mouse like I do that's got a Bluetooth adapter that frees it up, you can connect even more things. So lots of different options there for this gaming laptop. All right, so that's pretty much it for the Legion 5 gaming laptop. Again, this one is running the i7 11th generation. It's got 16 gigs of RAM. Forgot to mention this earlier. You can upgrade it to 32 if you so choose. I think it's fine with 16. Even on my regular desktop gaming rig with an i9, I've got 16 gigs of RAM. So you can play everything at 1080p just fine with it. I don't really see the need for that. But anyway, we saw some gameplay footage, looked at the sound, looked at basically everything on the laptop, and I've been really happy with it. You're going to get over 100 frames per second basically on anything that's out there. There might be a few exceptions if you try to max up and go higher on, like, let's say, Cyberpunk 2077. But when it comes to Call of Duty, when it comes to Valorant, when it comes to even Fortnite, you're going to have a great gameplay experience on here. It doesn't get super crazy hot, which is a winner for me. Again, I've tested out some other gaming laptops here recently for my own personal use. I went and I bought the Asus. It's I think it was the Strix 3060, and I tried that one out, and it was basically the Ryzen 9 version of this, and it got crazy insanely hot. I took it back. I wasn't having it. This one right here does good with the heat mitigation, lots of fans, tons of ports. This is probably the most ports I've seen on a gaming laptop, especially ones that I've looked at personally before, and I like it because I can plug everything in. It's got the ports on the back, so you don't have to worry about stuff being on the sides of the laptop getting in the way all the time. I like that a lot. I think they did a good job with this one. It's a solid option. For fully maxed out version, I think is about $14.99. You can get the lesser models for less. They've had a lot of stuff on sale recently as well. So check around. You can probably get some better deals on it than the full MSRP. But that's all I've got on my review of the Legion 5 gaming laptop. This is a 2021. Solid gaming laptop. It's a good option if you're looking for something that will allow you to play AAA titles, 100 frames per second, and have really enjoyable experience. And of course you can mess with that too. If you want to turn the graphics down more like my kids do to get more frames per second, you can do that. always little tweaks you can do when you have a PC versus having a console, because you can change a lot of stuff when it comes to the variables and the settings and stuff like that. So good option here. Hopefully this was helpful. Hopefully this was a good video and you enjoyed it. If you have any questions or comments, please head down to the comment section. I'll get back with you. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like and the subscribe button and the little notification bell if you want updates when new videos come out. And as always, thanks for being here. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you guys next time.